Welcome to Pour Painting with Ron. I hope you've had a good week and I look forward to sharing another painting with you today. Well, I thought today I would be doing a bloom pour, but I'll be doing a swipe today rather than my usual spin one. I've done lots of those. I'd like to try something different today. Well, today I'm going to be using this thin edge canvas. It's 30 centimeters by 60 centimeters or 12 inches by 24. And as usual, I've taped off the back with some painter's tape, and I've put in some giant push pins to keep it off the surface of my table. Now my canvas was really loose, so I tightened it up by spraying some water on the back and then blow drying it just to tighten things up a bit, because you want a nice drumming sound on your canvas. Okay, right, so what am I going to be using today for my paints? Now, if you've seen my other videos before, you're quite aware of the recipe I use now for bloom pours, but I'll just go through it really quickly again for all the newbies who have found my video today. But if you want a more detailed explanation, I'll put a link at the end of this video linking to my first one where I go through everything in much more detail. But anyway, there's three parts. You need a pillow, a colour layer, and then a cell activator layer on the top. So my pillow layer is just ordinary acrylic interior wall house paint. I've used white, but you can use any colour you like, really. If they tint it though, don't get them to put it in that shaker thing because it just fills up with too many air bubbles. Just stir it yourself afterwards to stir in the colour. This is just white. And then the colour layer, the pouring medium, I'm using untinted interior acrylic house paint. Says untinted. I use the extra bright. Some people use dark base as well. That works perfectly fine too. And I mix that with Jo Sonyas polyurethane gloss varnish. So I'm using 3 parts paint to 2 parts of the varnish. And then I add that 2 parts of my pouring medium to 1 part of my paint. Now the paint I'm using today is mostly Jo Sonyas. Any nicely high pigmented paint should work. And I'm going for earthy colours today. So I'm using brown earth and burgundy, some Turner's yellow, some yellow oxide, and some rich gold. And then I'm using the Chroma Molten Metals. Their lighter gold is called Dorado Gold. So all of those together, hopefully, should work nicely. And then for the cell activator on the top, I'm using Amsterdam Titanium White. Amsterdam paints, they do work the best. And I'm mixing that with Australian Floetrol. So my usual mix when I do the spin out blooms is usually 1 part of this paint to 3 parts Floetrol. But today, because I'm doing a swipe, I thought I'd use 1 part paint and 1.5 parts Floetrol, just a slightly thicker mix. Hopefully the lacing will hold together a little bit better when I stretch it out. All right, that was really quick, but hopefully you get the idea. All right, well, let's get started. Righto, hopefully you can see that okay today. The first step is going to be to put my pillow paint on my canvas. Now usually when I've done this, I've put out a layer over the entire canvas and then put an extra pillow in between, but I thought I'd give it a go today just having a pillow with no extra layer. We'll see if that works. Now I hope I have enough paint. My tin is almost empty, but I think I have enough. If I make a mistake, I won't have enough to do it again. Now I'm sort of aim for the middle. Oh, there's a little blob fell in it. Hopefully I can get rid of that little blob that fell in it a bit later. All right. Hopefully that's enough. We'll soon find out. Now, a few air bubbles in there, so I'll give it a little bit of a torch. Can't torch it after, because there's too much varnish in the paint. Still a few air bubbles. Okay. Alright, now I want to put a strip of colour down the middle. Alright, so I might start with my dark brown. Now I hope I have enough of this paint as well. You don't need a huge amount. I'm just trying to use up some of my extra colours. I'll do some of the Turner's yellow. I might do it like a wiggly design like that. So I don't want it all looking exactly the same. I'll do a darker colour. Do a wiggly design as well. And then I might do one of the golds. And then I'll put some of this yellow oxide. And some of the rich gold on the top. I will do another layer. So the dark earth again. I'll be a bit more like casual with how I put it on. And which one was next? Turner's yellow. Let's put some blobs here and there. And then the burgundy. Oh, no, that wasn't burgundy. That was the brown one again. Burgundy. That's better. And I'll put some blobs in there, but not in the same spot, running out. Shake down to the bottom. Just enough. Okay, burgundy. Then I'll do the light gold. And the yellow oxide. And I'll finish off with the rich gold. Just enough of these colours. Alright, I'll put them aside. so you can see what I'm doing. Now I'm going to be swiping today with playing cards, but you can use anything really to swipe with, bit of plastic, cardboard, whatever works for you. A palette knife will work as well. And rather than putting the colour, swiping colour straight on the paint, by all means you can do that, I'm going to put it on the wall scraper, dip my card in, and then swipe. So I'll put some on here first, a bit thicker than I usually use. Okay, so you just want the bottom part of the card with a nice coverage. I'll start out halfway and I'll just drag out. Clean off the card. Put some more on. And then drag out. Now you don't have to be too fussy about what the end looks like, because that gets poured off when you stretch it. Probably didn't do that one enough. I'll do that one again. You sort of want to drag the paint with, but not too hard, to move the pillow underneath. That wasn't good enough. I'll use a thin edge just to do that bit again. You can go over it again, but not too much, otherwise you'll muddy all the colours together. Again, not good enough there, so I'll use the thin edge to drag that out. Turn my card around. There's a fly buzzing around. It had better not land in my painting. Now I can never swipe this way. So I'll just turn my canvas around. I'll put some more cell activator on the spatula. You don't have to make up heaps of cell activator, so you don't use much. Now I hope I'm going to have enough paint to cover the corners here. Not enough. Do that again. That's better. Use the other side of the card. I'm interested to see how this looks when I stretch it out. Now, I don't mind if there's a few white bits left. Okay, we're a little worried about this corner that I won't have enough pillow paint to stretch, but yeah, well, we'll find out as we go. Now, I'm just going to wait for a second or two, or a minute or two, just to let the cells develop as much as they're going to. And then we're going to see if we can stretch it out. Okay, we're back. Now, hopefully I haven't been too stingy with the pillow paint, but we'll see. Now, you want to make sure that the paint flows, that it's not going to stick onto your canvas. Is it all moving? Yes. I'm just going to go backwards and forwards. I'm a bit worried about these corners, so I am going to have to go all the way down that end. Don't really want to, but so I risk ruining my design. But hopefully I can bring it back again. Oh, it's rather more than I wanted to. I've got the weight of my paint down here. See, I've scrunched up the cells, but we'll see what happens when I move it all back this way. Still have lots of paint on the canvas. I'm going to have to take it off. See if I can fix my composition a bit. Now, I don't particularly like what's happened down at this end. see if I can stretch everything down this way. Take some more off there, I think. Wasn't quite what I was going for, but it looks interesting. Let me just have a look here. Not sure. What will I do? How much paint do I have left? I've got some interesting movement happening. Now I might leave it like that, or I will wreck it. All right. Well, it's different than what I was planning, as usually the case. Yeah, I think that's quite interesting. I'll just tidy up the edges, cover over any bits that aren't covered yet. Pick up some colour. Where will I pick it up? Here. I guess some of the corners aren't covered, so I'll just pick up some colour. And let it dribble down. And I'll pick up some colour. Just let it dribble down. There's certainly a lot of movement in this painting. We've got lots of interesting lacing effects happening. So I'm not super keen about this bit, but yeah, I can't fix that. You do need to scrape the edges because the drops pull the paint off the surface. They also look horrible when they dry. So you may need to go around a couple of times before it's finished dripping. Alright, so here's the painting. I'll come in close. Now the metallics should look really lovely when they're dry. They go all shiny looking. You see we've got some very beautiful lacing happening here. Not sure if you can pick up the shimmers of the gold. So this corner, yeah, I overstretched it and the lacing got a bit squished. But overall it looks all right. I like this end of the painting better. So what did you think? I think it turned out interesting. Not at all what I planned it to be, but anyway, I think it turned out okay. I think next time I have to make sure I've got more pillow paint at the ends so I can cover my corners without having to tilt it too much sideways. I think that's what undid me in this painting. So if you try it yourself, make sure you have enough pillow paint on the ends to carry your paint out to the corners without having to tilt your canvas sideways. I think you'll get a better result that way. Not that this is ugly, but yeah, not quite what I wanted, and I'll make sure I do that next time. Also, I could have got away perhaps with a bit less overall pillow paint so I didn't have to tip too much off. Your risk is if you tip a lot off, if you don't tip enough off, that the paint on your canvas is going to be too thick and it will crack when it dries. So to minimize that, the thinner the end amount of paint is, the better or the less risk there is of your paint cracking when it dries. So we'll see how this goes. Certainly worth experimenting a little bit more with. But hopefully I gave you a few creative ideas today of what you might like to try with your own paint pouring experiments. Anyway, as usual, if you like what you saw today, please press the like button. And if you'd like to see more of my content, please take a moment to subscribe. Well, I hope you have a good week ahead and happy painting.